Now I've got the... This is daylight murder, and when I say murder, you say, well, oh, Chris, that's a bit...
Strange videos about him laying on a hospital bed, getting a colonoscopy or whatever, I don't know, the connect face.
We don't know.
We have to... No, that's what they say it was. So, but at the end of the day, you know, we were probably 24 hours away from pulling Conor Benn out of the fight at one stage of his training.
Yes, it hurt. Okay, so I'm showing you how rich I am. I live in him. He's also my night clothes. I wear him at night. Yes, I wear him to sleep at night. I'm inside him.
I do think the weight cut affected him for the Conor Benn fight.
Back-to-back cap.
Yeah, well, and also, I remember Chris telling me he wasn't using a nutritionist. He may have been, I don't know. You never know with Chris. There's a lot of ruse.
Breaking news. Conor Benn is responsible, according to Eubank Sr, who is clearly heartbroken and angry because his son was pushed to cut unsafe weight. And it shows how serious this situation is, with Eubank Jr. ending up in hospital from a demand that never should have been accepted.
My son having to boil himself down to 160? 3 years ago, they were talking about him coming down to 157. What is that? This is daylight murder. And when I say murder, you say, well, oh, Chris, that's a bit too strong. Yet, my brother died at the hands of the promoters. 20 losses in 27 fights. Being brought in as fodder. Do you understand?
Eubank Jr. ending up in hospital proves how dangerous that weight cut was, and no one can deny it now. Eddie said things don't go well in every training camp, and fighters should take it on the chin. But he admits Benn went up strong and nearly stopped him, which shows the whole fight was stacked against Eubank from the start.
Training camp. Things don't go well in every training camp. But it is what it is. If you sign up for the fight and you go through with the fight, what you can't do after is go, oh, well, I wasn't very well. You know, I've been struggling. Like, the reality is, just take it on the chin. And what we can't do is the fact that Conor Benn's gone up to middleweight, he's won every round and nearly stopped Chris Eubank.
The sight of Eubank Jr. that night tells you everything about how brutal that weight demand was, because his body was clearly drained long before the first punch was thrown. Liam Goff questioning what happened shows how alarming it looked, and the idea that Eubank would rather pay 50 cents than pay Conor Benn's weight fine only exposes how Benn forced him into a dangerous position. Benn benefited from Eubank entering the ring already weakened, and that is why the outcome was never truly fair.
What the hell happened to Chris Eubank Jr.? What did he do? Or what did he not do in order to make that weight healthily? He looked, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering, because he went to the ring with 50 cents, I was thinking, I wonder how much he paid 50. And I wonder, did he decide, you know what, I would rather just get the money, have 50 cents walk me to the ring and pay him that money than pay Conor Benn or pay whoever, the British boxing board, to miss weight and come in healthy.
Johnny Nelson makes it clear that Eubank Jr. tried everything to keep control. But you could see the pressure building from Benn's side, because Benn expected every advantage handed to him. The talk about fines just shows how Eubank knew the fight would continue no matter what. But he refused to give Benn any benefit, even while struggling. Benn relied on Eubank entering the ring weakened, and that tells the whole story of who truly wanted a fair fight.
Everything he's done, he knows this fight's not going to get pulled. So don't be surprised Saturday morning, because I say, here, take the fine money. Here, I'm getting paid a lot of money, take it. And so, because there's no way on earth he's going to put himself in a position where he's going to...
Duke McKenzie calling the cut unsafe confirms what Eubank Sr. warned since day one, because dropping from a natural walking weight into such a low limit destroys a fighter's strength and health. This was not a strategic decision, but a forced sacrifice demanded by Benn's camp. Eubank Jr. put his body on the line, and Benn used that vulnerability as his greatest weapon, instead of relying on real skill.
My concern for Eubank is the amount of weight this boy's got to cut to come down to, I think the fight's made at 160 pounds, is that right?
Right.
So he's got to come down from 100 from whatever his walking round weight is. Let's say he walks around at 180 pound when he's out of training. That's like 20 pound weight difference, right? That he's got to lose. It's not safe. It's not. He can't possibly be at his physically strongest. He can't. And he's really putting himself on the line.
Hearing that Eubank Jr. is in serious condition removes any doubt about how dangerous that weight demand truly was, because no fighter should ever be pushed to the point of hospitalization simply to satisfy an opponent's ego. This is the brutal truth Eubank Sr. has been shouting about, and now the world sees it. Conor Benn proudly walked into the ring fresh, while Eubank walked in damaged. And this outcome is a direct result of those reckless weight terms that Benn insisted on. Watching Eubank Jr. in the ring, it was painfully clear he was not the same fighter. The weight cut demanded by Conor Benn left him drained and weak, unable to show his usual skill and speed. Every movement was labored, every punch lacked snap, and the hospitalization after the fight proves the severity. Benn walked in fresh and confident, benefiting from Eubank's suffering. The difference was night and day, and shows how desperate Benn is to look good by exploiting his opponent rather than facing a truly prepared fighter at full strength.
I don't know what's going on with him, but I can tell you this. We didn't see the same Chris Eubank Jr. this time as we saw last time.
Tony Bellew's words hit hard because what we witnessed was no longer a fair fight, but a circus engineered around Eubank Jr.'s misery. Conor Benn walked in confident, while Eubank Jr. battled the aftermath of extreme dehydration. The sport was overshadowed by reckless demands and Benn's smug advantage. Watching this unfold, it became clear Benn relied on weakness instead of skill to shine, turning boxing into spectacle and shame. The hospitalization proves how far Benn's ego pushed this situation, and how the so-called fight ended up exposing the unfairness and danger rather than any real competition.
It's frightening for the sport. It's not that it's bad, it's frightening. But listen, this isn't boxing as a sport, this is the circus.
Roy Jones Jr., noticing Eubank Jr.'s calm energy, shows his focus despite the immense strain on his body. While Benn arrived at the weigh-in fresh and secure, Eubank Jr. endured brutal weight demands that pushed him to the hospital later. His discipline and composure under such pressure highlight Benn's unfair advantage. This wasn't about skill or preparation, but about surviving impossible conditions. While Benn could rely on an opponent already compromised, the hospitalization makes it clear that Benn's confidence was artificially inflated, while Eubank Jr.'s courage and professionalism were tested beyond reason.
Just going through the motion, he's serious about it, so I liked it.
Yeah, like his energy was like very calming throughout the week.
Yes.
Dave Coldwell perfectly sums up the disrespect shown toward Eubank Jr. as Benn took advantage of his weakened state. The presser may have been playful for the crowd, but behind the scenes, Benn used Eubank's strained condition to look dominant. Crossing the line and physically poking a dehydrated opponent shows Benn thrives on exploitation instead of real skill. The hospitalization proves how dangerous the situation became, and that Benn only gained confidence from an opponent compromised by extreme weight cutting. This fight wasn't about fairness, but about Benn leveraging vulnerability to build his ego.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Does that cross the lane, do you think?
Yeah, it does. Listen, the presser was good. It was a great presser, back and forth, poking each other, but not too far. But once you get physical and you touch a man's face, then
Jack Catterall highlights the extremes fighters face, but even his cautious words underline how dangerous Benn's demands were. Eubank Jr. endured a brutal weight cut that no one could safely recommend, and yet Benn strutted in confident while taking advantage of his opponent's suffering. It was not skill that made Benn look good. It was Eubank Jr. being forced into extreme measures. The hospitalization confirms that his health was on the line, and Benn's so-called triumph is tainted by this unfair advantage. Every statement about weight cuts now circles back to how reckless Ben's camp was and how much they exploited Eubank Jr.
You know what? Everybody's weight situation and weight making situation is unique to them. There's weight classes for a reason. I know some people are going to too extreme lengths. I don't know. I can't comment on it. I wish him to be safe and well, like I wish every fighter. But that's their business.
Dave Coldwell's comments show that Ben's actions were calculated, not spontaneous, which is exactly what made the entire situation worse for Eubank Jr. While Eubank Jr. struggled with dehydration and exhaustion, Ben deliberately pushed psychological pressure and humiliation, knowing his opponent was compromised. The hospitalization makes it clear that Ben relied on Eubank Jr.'s weakness to make himself look bigger rather than earn it through skill. Every premeditated move highlights Ben's insecurity and eagerness to exploit, turning what should have been a contest of talent into a display of opportunism that endangered a fighter's health while protecting Ben's inflated ego.
Premeditated, then it's not uncharacteristic. At the time, you're thinking it's like reaction. So no, it's not, because he premeditates everything, and it was funny, but I don't agree with...
Eddie Hearn points out that Ben's behavior at the presser was dishonorable, and while he calls it a bitch move, it reflects the mindset that drove him to exploit Eubank Jr.'s condition. While Eubank Jr. was dehydrated, weakened, and on the edge of collapse, Ben's actions were designed to gain psychological advantage rather than fight on equal footing. This aligns perfectly with why Eubank ended up in hospital, because the situation was engineered against him. Ben's confidence came not from preparation, but from the desperation of his opponent, and every act at the presser reinforces that he benefits when Eubank Jr. is struggling physically and mentally.
Because I thought it was a bitch move. I really did.
Have you spoken?
I would never. If you chin someone at a presser, if you do that, it's different. But when
Paul Smith's reaction shows the shocking disregard some have for Eubank Jr.'s well-being, as they laugh off the situation that put him in hospital. While he struggled with extreme weight loss and exhaustion, Ben's antics were celebrated and turned into entertainment. It exposes the arrogance and carelessness of Ben's camp, because the seriousness of Eubank Jr.'s condition was ignored for spectacle. The hospitalization proves this was not a harmless incident, and highlights how Ben's ego relied on taking advantage of a weakened opponent. Every laugh and comment from the sidelines emphasizes that Ben's success was built on exploitation and not skill.
We expect that from Chisora. I'm not going to lie, when it happened, I laughed my head off. I absolutely laughed my head off. I did too. I thought it was quite poetic. I thought what happened was...
Eubank Jr.'s words cut straight to the heart of the story, because they reveal exactly what Ben tried to do by targeting him when he was weakest. The hospitalization was a direct consequence of the extreme weight cut that Ben forced into the fight, and it shows how cowardly and opportunistic Ben truly is. Eubank Jr. stayed focused and refused to let Ben's tactics shake his mind, even while his body suffered. This moment exposes Ben's character, because he relied on attacking a depleted opponent rather than meeting him at full strength, making his advantage hollow and his reputation earned through exploitation rather than skill.
Insect is a coward. He waited until I was cutting weight, dehydrated, and malnourished to come and step to me.
The final section of this story leaves no doubt that Conor Benn's tactics were shameful, because Eubank Jr. ended up in hospital simply for following the extreme weight demands that Ben's team insisted on. This was not a contest of skill or preparation, but a calculated exploitation of a fighter's body and health. Every comment, every presser moment, every sneer from Ben's side showed how desperate he was to appear dominant without facing a fully prepared opponent. Eubank Jr.'s courage and discipline shone through despite dehydration, exhaustion, and malnutrition, and that is what real fans should celebrate. Ben's advantage was artificial and hollow, while Eubank Jr. proved the heart and professionalism of a true fighter. Now the world sees the danger of such tactics and why fighters must be protected. Do you think Benn should be held accountable for pushing Eubank Jr. to the brink? Let us know in the comments and join the debate on who truly earned respect in this fight.